Welcome on into the Butler Center as an upset-minded St. Kate's team plays host to the University of St. Thomas. Jason Doro here with you on this beautiful Saturday afternoon in the Twin Cities, at least beautiful indoors, as the Wildcats take on the Tommies. Today's broadcast is a presentation of St. Catherine University and produced by TJ Broadcast Services. Our website is tjsportsonline.net. And our broadcast tonight is brought to you in part by Goodmanson Construction, Twin Cities Orthopedics, Universal Athletics, Northfield Lines, Collins Electric, and Terra Construction. Well, St. Thomas comes into the Butler Center 19-3, ranked number 18 in the country, and they're perfect at 5-0 in MIAC play. They're actually alone atop the conference at this point, trailed by Bethel and St. Ben's closely. Both the Bennies and Bethel are 4-1. St. Kate's comes in at 1-4, no longer in the cellar, as McAllister is at the bottom at 0-6. And of course, St. Kate's has a lot of games against other teams that are toward the bottom of the conference down the stretch here in October. The Wildcats are coming off a straight sets victory over Carleton on Wednesday, going 3-0 for the sweep down in Northfield. They hit .303 in that game and outscored the Knights 59-40 overall, and now St. Kate's sits at 11-8. They're an even 2-2 here at home. The Tommies on the year 19-3. They're coming off a Friday in which they played a doubleheader. They played both the Stevens Institute of Technology and Northwestern yesterday. Those matches at home at Sheneker Arena, in St. Paul, and they took the latter in straight sets. So that improved them to 19-3 on the year, and they're still one of those few MIAC teams remaining in the top 25 in the country. There are 3 currently in the AVCA poll, including St. Ben's, who's number 5, the Augies of Augsburg at 16, and then St. Thomas at 18. We probably will see St. Ben's drop, though, as the Bennies fell yesterday against St. Mary's in 4 sets. An upset in Winona, as St. Mary's was able to knock off St. Benedict in a big upset. And we'll, of course, keep an eye on what else happens in the MIAC today. Gustavus will play at La Crosse. Wisconsin plays at Carleton this afternoon. St. Benedict playing at St. Olaf. Concordia is down in Winona now to take on St. Mary's. Gustavus is playing the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point in the UW Whitewater Invitational. And now Stevens, the squad that St. Thomas took on yesterday, is playing Augsburg, as the school from New Jersey plays a little series of matches and a trip to the Twin Cities on this soggy weekend throughout Minnesota. Final preparations underway here. You see St. Kate's now on the court, getting their last warm-ups in before first serve against the Tommies. We'll take a quick break and then get you set for this afternoon's match.
As a family-owned and operated business since 1971, Goodmanson Construction continues to develop concrete relationships with their commercial and residential customers throughout the upper Midwest. Questions or concerns about concrete, asphalt, and the company's installation process, check out their website at goodmansonconstruction.com. Thank you, Goodmanson Construction. A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since all the way back in 1971, the Universal Athletic Team has been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal Athletic has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in schools and communities. Transporting Wildcat athletes is in the capable hands of Northfield Lines Incorporated, dedicated to ensuring that your travel experience is a positive one. Call to request a quote or to make a reservation at 888-670-8068 or visit their website at northfieldlines.com. Twin Cities Orthopedics offers a full spectrum of orthopedic care to individuals suffering sports-related problems and injuries. Their doctors are team physicians for St. Catherine's University as well as Augsburg University, Hamline University, and others around the state of Minnesota. Visit tcomn.com and thank you to Twin Cities Orthopedics. For exception.
Less than a minute away now from the scoreboard here, hitting triple zeros at the Butler Center, and St. Kate's will take on the University of St. Thomas, looking for an upset. The Tommies way above 500 at 19-3 so far in this 2019 campaign, and it may not be that much longer that St. Kate's gets to face another squad from St. Paul and the Tommies, as the University of St. Thomas has submitted a waiver to the NCAA to move up to Division I athletics. And if that waiver is approved by the NCAA, the Tommies would jump into the Summit League in 2021. And it would be no longer for these contests between the Tommies and Wildcats. St. Kate's takes the floor, and will step aside momentarily for the national anthem here at the Butler Center. And that was a beautiful performance of our national anthem, setting us up for this MIAC bout between the Wildcats and Tommies. We only have so many of these matches left to bring you from the Butler Center this season. Our third to last home match in the regular season for St. Kate's. After tonight, they just have a pair remaining on October 25th and October 26th. They'll take on Hamline that Friday evening, the 25th, before facing off with St. Mary's on the ensuing Saturday. Today is the alumni match at St. Kate's, as the program and the school honor plenty of alumni who have contributed to the Wildcat program over the years. And we look forward to bringing you hopefully some of those ceremonies during the breaks here between the Wildcats and Tommies. A quick peek at what to expect on the St. Thomas sign tonight. At center, it's Grace Antippa, a sophomore from St. Paul who went to Cretin-Durham Hall High School. She's fourth in the MIAC in assists per set. Just over 10% for her this season. On the back row, watch for Ellie Meyer, a senior defensive specialist, leading the team in digs per set. She was an All-MIAC honoree in both 2016 and 2018. And in 2017, she only missed that honor because she suffered a season-ending injury. And outside, Maddie Kraler contributes a whole lot, second on the team in digs, or rather kills per set, as well as digs for that matter. She's coming off a 12-kill performance in the win against Northwestern last night. And Selena Lewandowski, a freshman middle, is hitting .237, paving the way for St. Thomas, leading the Tommies in that department. Fran Egan is another great outside hitter, the sophomore from Minneapolis who went to Washburn High School, is 13th in the conference in kills per set. The St. Thomas team is great at passing and defending. They're second in the MIAC in assists per set as a team, third in digs, so they're near the top in both of those categories. But they're not great in other departments. 10th in blocks, 11th in aces. This team is really strong at passing and in serve reception, but they aren't super aggressive at the net or when they're serving themselves. So we'll see what St. Kate's can bring against the Tommies. Of course, overall, the St. Thomas team is really strong. They're 19-3. They're ranked in the top 25. They're perfect in MIAC play. They just are different than St. Kate's in that the Wildcats are down the middle in almost every statistical category, ranking in the middle of the road in the MIAC. And St. Thomas is great in some areas and not so strong in others. St. Thomas, of course, coached by Tang Pham. His 17th year at the helm of this Tommy program led them to a national championship in 2012. The first MIAC program, actually, to ever win it all, as they got it done with a 40-1 record that year. And this program was among the best in the country for a long time. They still are, but from 2005 to 2015, the Tommies were ranked in the AVCA top 25 in 120 of 121 consecutive polls. Really just a remarkable stretch for them. They had one down year a couple seasons ago as they went 9-17 in 2015, but they've rattled off 3 consecutive 20-win seasons leading up to this one. Underway now from the Butler Center with Aaron Cutt swinging cross court. A free ball coming back across for St. Kate's. It's Emma Nelson from the right side, blocked up front. Chance for Lauren Scarr, who swings it into the net. And that solid defense from St. Thomas that we talked about leads to an opening point for the Tommies. This is Megan Mazzola serving for them. Another back set for Nelson, who rolls it down the far side. Dug out cleanly by St. Thomas. Here's a chance for Nelson, looking for the back line, too long. Oh, she got a piece of the block, though, so we'll be even at 1-1. Nelson comes in leading the team in kills per set and digs per set, 2.8 and 4.2 in those respective categories. That one's pummeled into the block, back onto the Tommy side. A swing from the far side from Maddie Kraler. St. Kate's coming the other way, blocked at the net. St. Thomas with a surprisingly strong start, forming that wall up front, and then the swing by Nelson out of the back row goes long. Two-1 Tommies in the early going. Gilbertson over to Isaacson, who taps it across. Bump set for Kraler with St. Thomas out of system. Still gets some good pace on her attack. Cuts off the block and out of play. We're even at 2-2. And Cuts will serve now. Leading the team in aces with 22 this year. She's top 20 in the MIAC in that category. Great cross-court shot from Kate Achenbach, a freshman freshman right side out of Maple Grove, who went to Osseo High School. Weaving that one between Wildcat defenders, and it's 3-2. Anna Sheffley ready to serve. As the official has a quick chat with the ball girl, retrieving the volleyballs on the end line to make sure she's in the right place. Sheffley serves down the near side. Gilbertson, quick set. That one for Tebben that she punched across. Free ball coming for the Wildcats. Gilbertson this time lobs it outside for Isaacson. It's off the ceiling, kept in play by the Tommies. Another free ball for St. Kate's. This time a back set for Scarr going cross court from the right side. From the middle, it's Mazzola with a hefty swing. The kill from Mazzola makes it 4-2. We talked in the pregame about the St. Thomas defense, and they just pass and dig really well, and that's what we've seen so far. Tebben looking to slice it to the right side, and she hit it too hard and out of play. 3 straight points for the Tommies, with Sheffley serving, the junior defensive specialist from Invergrove Heights. That one's lobbed back to Nelson. She didn't expect it to come her way. And then Kraler gets a kill from the outside. Kraler was named to the All-MIAC team in each of the last 2 seasons, and the neuroscience major was surgical with that last one. Timeout called by Todd Nelson with the score at 6-2 in our opening set. A reminder, Wildcat fans, about Collins Electric, a contracting firm that is experienced, progressive, responsive, competitive, safe, and on schedule. Qualities that translate into excellence and trust, trademarks that have carried their reputation since 1928. Collins Electrical Company aspires to continually improve in all aspects of their business. This is one of the less busy weekends in St. Kate's athletics. Nothing on the calendar for tomorrow. And then early next week, women's soccer will take on St. Olaf, 3:30 p.m. on Tuesday. The volleyball team has their next match at McAllister College this upcoming Wednesday night. Then they have a bit of a break as they don't play next weekend. They'll have a dozen days off between that matchup against McAllister and the ensuing match on Friday, October 25th, which will be back here at home against Hamlin. They'll take on the Pipers at 7 p.m. That's Parents' Night. And the following day will be senior match against St. Mary's on Saturday, October 26th. Ready to resume now. 6-2 Tommies in set number 1, and Gilbertson just barely poked the net there. So it's 7-2 Tommies. Sheffley still serving with St. Thomas on a 5-0 run. Tebben hammers it down off the tape. Punch back over to St. Kate's. Amaker comes in to save it. Isaacson with the big swing from the outside. She blows that one through the Tommy defense, and it's 7-3. Isaacson averaging over 2 kills per set. The sophomore is coming off an 8-kill, 10-dig performance in the straight sets win against Carleton on Wednesday. Anatipa outside for Kraler, blocked at the net, saved by Leverance. Now Isaacson, roll shot, down onto the 10-foot line, saved by Sheffley. A tap from Kraler, and the St. Kate's block is there. That ball didn't get over the net, so it's counted as 4 touches by the Tommies. Back-to-back points for St. Kate's, and they're within 3. The Wildcats looking for their second MIAC victory this year after they started conference play 0-4. Leverance from the right side. Bobbled off a couple of Tommy heads, and then it dropped. Lewandowski was slow to get the block up with Kraler, and it gave Leverance the chance to pound it home. 3 straight for the Wildcats, trying to keep it rolling. Anatipa, quick set for Lewandowski, and she propels that one into the deck. Selena Lewandowski, a freshman middle from Clear Lake, Wisconsin, 18th in the MIAC in hitting percentage, best on the team at .237. Kraler serves now. Harker into the game for St. Kate's, and Tebben can't cleanly play the set from Harker, making it back-to-back points for the Tommies. St. Thomas is 7-1 on the road this year. Tough no matter where you play them. This time it goes to Isaacson, who clobbers it off the block and out of play. A couple of kills now for Isaacson in the early going. Wildcats within 3 again. Bump set for Lewandowski. She tried to turn that one to the near sideline. even though her momentum was taking her cross court, and she missed wide. Isaacson serves. Serve reception from Kraler. Now here's Lewandowski with a roll shot to the back row. Leverance swinging on the far side, but there was a whistle first and a double contact called on Harker. Harker and Gilbertston still flipping off at that setter position, the two freshmen in the 6-2 for St. Kate's. Harker has to bump that one back to Isaacson, and she bumps it over. A free ball for St. Thomas. Alexis West hit that one over after almost mistiming her attack. That one barely gets to the net. A joust there. Tebben got a piece of it. Now here's Nelson driving it down. Nelson working her way into the front row and making an impact from there. Amaker serves. Here's Kraler from the back row. And she weaves it to the back line. Kraler contributing from every spot in the rotation. As mentioned earlier, she's second on the team in both kills and digs per set. Much like Emma Nelson, she has a really well-rounded game. Cutts got a piece of that one at the net. Now here's Nelson tipping it past the block. Dug out by Fran Egan. Back set from Harker over to Leverance. Blocked out of play. So that's a St. Kate's point. Egan was celebrating like the Tommies had recorded a point there. But she blocked it a tad wide. And it's 11-9. Gilbertson back into the contest and serving a line drive into the tape. And the service error hands a point to St. Thomas, the first service error we've seen tonight. Gilbertson over to Cutts. Into the block, and it falls inbounds. So a Tommy point. Their lead is back to 4. They led 7-2 at one point in this opening set, forcing Todd Nelson to call timeout basically right out of the gate. Big swing from Kate Achenbach down the line. Achenbach hitting .202 this year, and she hit .355 last night against Northwestern. Amaker with the serve reception. Nelson from the right side. Dug out in the back row by Mazzola. Now Kraler with the roll shot. Scar comes in to save it. Isaacson from the back row, driving it to the near side. Achenbach again. That one's saved by the Wildcats. Cutts flailing her arms, trying to play that last set. Couldn't get a hand on it. And the lead is up to 6, the largest it's been in set number 1 for St. Thomas. And that one was mishit. But there was a whistle first for St. Kate's being out of rotation. Gilbertson needs an explanation. So does Todd Nelson. And that one especially hurts because the serve from Mazzola hit off her fingertips and barely even got to the net. It would have been a free point for St. Kate's. Instead, they trail by 7. Nelson going for the back corner and misses wide. St. Kate's reeling here. In set 1, Lauren Scar will exit, replaced by Lindsay Markle. Nelson shaking things up here. Cutts trying to drill that one down. Another great dig on the St. Thomas side. Nelson off the tape. Dug out by Anna Tippa. Far side, it's Kraler. Kraler has looked excellent in the opening set. And with the lead ballooning to 18-9, Todd Nelson calls another timeout. Another supporter of Wildcat Athletics is Terra Construction of Rogers, in business since 2007. Their continued success is built on the efforts of past and present employees, their greatest asset. Terra Construction makes an effort to engage all of their staff in the decision-making process, resulting in a foundation built on honesty, integrity, and trust. 18-9 in the opening set, and St. Kate's trying to battle their way back into it. By the way, if you want to get in touch with us, or even just let us know where in the world you're watching St. Kate's volleyball from, shoot us an email at wildcatsbooth@gmail.com, and we can chat on the air, answer your questions, or even just mention where you're watching the Wildcats from today. Again, it's wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. Fairly one-sided to this point. St. Kate's has got more attacks off in this game, 34 compared to 7 for St. Thomas. The Tommies have settled with sending over free balls a lot, but St. Thomas has made their swings count. They're hitting .231 tonight. The Wildcats are at an even 0. Only one attack error from the Tommies to this point. They're just not making mistakes. Gilbertson quickly to Cuts out of the timeout. A really clean play. And that will stem the run. St. Kate's finally sides out. And Emma Nelson tees up to serve. And a tip over to Kraler. Stuffed. And it stays inside the boundary. Cuts knew it right away. Getting help from Lindsay Markle at the far pin. Back-to-back points for St. Kate's as the Butler Center has filled up at this point. A packed house for the MIAC matchup between two St. Paul schools as Achenbach crushes that one down. Hard to tell the St. Kate's and St. Thomas faithful apart on this Saturday afternoon, with both teams sporting purple, of course. Cuts flipping that one. Now Lewandowski with that attack. There was a quick whistle. Aaron Cuts was in the net. And it's 20-11 in favor of St. Thomas. Ellie Meyer serves. Amaker had the serve reception. Cuts going cross court. And Atipa kept it alive. And Gilbertson can't track down the pass from Nelson. Great work from Nelson, really, just to keep that one off the floor, but it shot off her arms, and it was tough for Gilbertson to track down. Bump set from Isaacson over to Nelson. Roll shot down the middle, saved by Atipa again. Kraler teeing up from the 10-foot line, rolls it out to Nelson. Tipped over by Cuts, that one's down. Cuts trying to get St. Kate's back into this first set. The junior middle is 5th in the MIAC in hitting percentage, 9th in blocks. And she's top 20 in both kills and aces. Almost had one there, but St. Thomas cleans it up and it results in a kill. The Tommies rolling in set 1. Anna Sheffley serves. Nelson the serve reception. Gilbertson over to Isaacson, hitting it off the block. Now Atipa floats it outside for Kraler. Lobs it over the block, and it's down. Gilbertson came flying in and extended her arm, but couldn't get to it. The St. Thomas team showing no signs of fatigue even after playing a doubleheader yesterday. Nelson from the middle in the back row. And now a dump from Atipa. We hadn't seen that yet in set number 1, and she pulls it out at the perfect time. The Tommies doubling up the Wildcats in set number 1. Isaacson cutting it cross court. Misfires wide. And that will do it for our opening set. It was close and a couple of points midway through, and then St. Thomas simply pulled away. They got out to a 7-2 lead. St. Kate's worked their way back into it, trailed by only about 3 points at like 11-8 and 12-9. And from there, it was all St. Thomas. Pretty sure they finished that set on a 13-3 run, and they take it 25-12. Today's broadcast is a production of TJ Broadcast Services. Our website is www.tjsportsonline.net. And you can direct comments, suggestions, and requests to wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. We can answer those comments on the air. Or even if you just want to share where you're watching Wildcat volleyball from, feel free to send it to wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. You can also follow TJ Broadcast Services on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Jason Doro here with you, as I will be for each of St. Kate's home matches this year, joined by Glenn Thompson at Master Control just to the right of me, making sure you get the best looks at today's action at the Butler Center. Another peek at the St. Kate's athletics schedule. It's a quiet weekend on campus. A bit atypical here, although there were 2 matches yesterday. Women's soccer played Hamlin and won 3-1, and the women's swimming team was in action too. But nothing tomorrow, and then 2 games this upcoming Tuesday and Wednesday. The women's soccer team will take on the Olies at 3:30 on Tuesday, and McAllister hosts the Wildcats volleyball team on Wednesday night at 7. A look at the MIAC standings. St. Thomas is the only remaining undefeated team at 5-0. Bethel and St. Benedict are both 4-1. Not trailing by much. Augsburg 4-2. Gustavus and St. Olaf both 3-2. Concordia, Hamlin, and St. Mary's all 2-3. Carleton and St. Kate's each 1-4. McAllister 0-6. And St. Kate's is yet to play most of those teams in the middle of the pack. You think about it, they have losses against St. Benedict and St. Olaf, who are in that upper half. Of course, they got their first conference win against McAllister earlier. Excuse me, against Carleton. Was grabbing the stats here in between periods and taking a look at what we had in the opening set. But yeah, St. Kate's got that first win against Carleton, and they'll play McAllister this upcoming Wednesday to clear that up for you. So that will be an excellent shot for the Wildcats to get their second or third conference win. In the opening set, St. Thomas hit 324. St. Kate's hit 23. That's the biggest difference. The Wildcats had 9 more attacks. They just weren't hitting nearly as cleanly as the Tommies, who had only 2 attack errors in set number 1. Gilbertson serves to start this second set. Kraler attacks from the near side, got a piece of the block, and then Amaker dug it. Markle attacking far side. Now it's Nelson from the near side, flipping it over the block. Kraler gathers and floats that one to the back row where Isaacson plays it. Now cuts. Nice play by the middle. Driving it to the left side. And St. Kate's has the first point in set number 2. Gilbertson ready to serve. Right down the middle. Played by Meyer. West into the block. Still playable for the Wildcats. Isaacson from the back row. Mishit that one. Even at 1-1. Gilbertson, back set, right side for Nelson, who clobbers it off the block. Back set from Anatipa. And that one got a piece of a Wildcat. Healthy swing from Kate Achenbach, who's been operating from that right side pretty consistently. Gilbertson hustling over to punch it up, and she couldn't play the serve reception. Achenbach has a lot of size, too, at 6'2", the freshman from Maple Grove. She's second on the team in blocks this year, half a block per set. Markle flicks that one to the back row. Anatipa quickly to Lewandowski, and it's off a couple of Wildcat hands and down. That block simply not getting over the net where it needs to be to hit the volleyball back to the Tommy side. 4 straight points for St. Thomas, and now a service error. That's the first service error of the afternoon for the Tommies. Here comes Emma Nelson. Anatipa quickly for Lewandowski. And now a double contact against St. Kate's. A couple of unforced miscues for them early on in what is a really difficult matchup against a top 25 opponent. Achenbach to the bench, replaced by Sheffley. Isaacson with the big swing into the block. And St. Thomas was called for being in the net right before the swing. Either way, it's a Wildcat point. And Aaron Cutt serves. Going down the near sideline. Anatipa for Lewandowski. She cuts that one to the near side and misses wide. She's really been slicing it like that on a lot of swings from the middle. That time she drives it right down to Gilbertson. Markle swinging from the right side. Now Kraler from the outside. Hit back over by Nelson, and it just barely misses the far sideline. Tough ball for Nelson to play. A ball coming straight at her face, and she put both hands up. Caromed right off her palms and back to the Tommy side. 6-4 St. Thomas in set 2. They took the first 25-12. Tapped over by Anatipa. The second setter dump by the sophomore today. She's coming off a 35-assist, 13-dig performance in the straight sets win against Northwestern last night. Nelson misfires wide. And St. Thomas didn't just play Northwestern yesterday. They played a doubleheader. They also took on Stevens earlier on Friday. And stamina will be something to watch as this game wears on. But so far, we've seen no signs of fatigue from St. Thomas as their lead extends to 9-4 in set number 2, forcing Todd Nelson to call timeout. Wildcat Athletics are proudly sponsored by ProTech Designs, Floors by Becker, McGough Construction, the DLR Group, and by Save-A-Tree. Wildcat supporters this season also include SVL, U.S. Bank, the Leffler Companies, Cone U.S., Fury Motors, and Twin Cities Hardware. Well, over the years, this has not been a team that St. Kate's has fared well against. If you go back a couple decades, you can't find a win for the Wildcats against the University of St. Thomas. Last year, it was a straight sets win for the Tommies on October 27th, and unless something changes quickly for St. Kate's, they'll be facing another outcome like that. Of course, just about any team in the country playing against the University of St. Thomas comes in as an underdog. This program has been so good over the years. We mentioned this in the pregame. From 2005 to 2015, there was a stretch where the Tommies were ranked in the AVCA Top 25 in 120 of 121 consecutive polls. Under Tang Pham, who's the 17th-year head coach of the Tommies, They have 11 MIAC regular season titles, 13 NCAA tournament berths, and only one of his 16 teams has finished outside the top 3 in the MIAC at the end of the regular season. That was in 2015 when they went 4-7 in conference action and finished 9-17. That was really uncharacteristic. If you go through the years, in the 17 seasons that he's coached them, they only have 1 year in which they haven't got 20 wins, and that's it, 2015. They rattled off 3 consecutive seasons with at least that 20-plus victories coming into this year following the off campaign in 2015. That ace for Abby Harker makes it 9-6 in set number 2. St. Kate's comes out guns blazing after the timeout. And now a block at the net. Fran Egan denied by Tebben and Leverance. Three straight points for the Wildcats after the timeout called by Todd Nelson. And another ace for Harker. She entered tonight with 20. Almost the best on the team. Cutts led the way before this match with 22. Harker again. A laser that caught the tape. Egan off the block and out of play. That ends the 4-0 St. Kate's run. Ellie Meyer comes out for St. Thomas. And now Lewandowski serves. Nelson with the pass for Harker. Leverance couldn't get to it. If she plays that ball, maybe she gets it across, but she also probably goes into the net. The crowd overflowing today at the Butler Center with 2 teams from St. Paul squaring off. And there's Leverance powering it down. The second kill of the afternoon for Leverance. Fran Egan, cross court, dug by Amaker. Isaacson bumps it back, and now a free ball from Harker. And a tippa out to Egan. There was a whistle at the net called against St. Kate's. Looks like Tebben was in the net. The lead goes back to 3. A knuckleball from Grace Anatipa on that serve. It was wavering back and forth as it crossed the net with no spin on it. Those can be the toughest serves to play. And that was the case for St. Kate's. An ace for Anatipa, and it's 13-9. That one also didn't have any spin on it. Nelson from the outside, stuffed, but it's down on the St. Thomas side. The block was too late getting into position. In the win against Carleton on Wednesday, Nelson had 13 kills, leading the way for the Wildcats in what was another double-double. She had 12 digs on top of the 13 kills. And it was an efficient night, too, as she hit 281. Back row, it's Kraler, blocked by Cutts. Free ball coming to the Wildcats. Right side, it's Leverance. Misses a tad wide. That was a great block by Cutts. On the attack from the back row, going down the pipe from Kraler. And Leverance barely missed on her attack. Solid pass from Nelson. She gets the third touch too, flicking it to the back corner. Kraler attacking from the 10-foot line. A good dig from Amaker. Now from the right side, it's Leverance off the block and down. Brianna Leverance coming alive in this second set. The sophomore from Andover playing well. She entered hitting 241 and notching 1.7 kills per set. Quick set from the middle on Alexis West. Now Kraler from the outside, and the ball lands out of play off the block. Nelson and Cutts got their hands on it. Just barely deflected it out of play. Ellie Meyer serving. Gilbertson over to Cutts, and it's over her outstretched arms. Cutts tapping her chest, saying, I was up too early for that one. Meyer again. That one was some side spin. Nelson from the right side. Deflected off the block, and Atipa dumps it over on two, and that's the third kill of the night for her. Her peripheral vision is outstanding because she is 100% so far on those setter dumps. The lead to 6 points in the second set, 17-11 after St. Thomas took the opening set, 25-12. Todd Nelson calls timeout for the Wildcats. St. Kate's did start this season off really well. They were 7-1 early on. Their best start since 2011. But once they got into MIAC play, they had to face much tougher opposition, and they haven't been able to rattle off as many wins. Since the 7-1 start, the Wildcats are 4-7, so now with a total record of 11-8. They can still improve on last year's mark of 14-12. Last year was the first time that they finished above 500 since 2015. Their 3-8 conference record is good for 9th of 12 squads in the MIAC. And it improved upon Todd Nelson's first season in 2017 when they went 9-16 and 1-10 in the MIAC. It wouldn't be surprising to see this team get up close to 500 in conference play and finish this season with 14 or more victories. Meyer continues to serve, a senior defensive specialist from the state of Illinois. She was an All-MIAC honoree in 2016 and 2018 and probably would have been in 2017 if not for suffering a season-ending injury after 23 matches. She leads the team in digs this year with over 5%. There's a rejection for the Wildcats. Cutts and Nelson denying Kraler at the near pin. St. Kate's gets the point they wanted coming out of the timeout, and now Nelson serves. And Atipa back set right side for Achenbach. The response from St. Thomas has been strong throughout this match. They have not allowed St. Kate's to rattle off a bunch of points in a row. Quick set for Cutts, poked across into the middle and saved by Sheffley. Blocked back to the St. Thomas side, a tap from Lewandowski. Then Isaacson with the roll shot on the far side. Kraler rises and hits into the block at the near pin. Isaacson again from the outside, blowing it off the block. One of the longest rallies we've seen today. Lewandowski into the block. Now it's floated to the back row where Nelson saves it. Quickly set for Cutts. A chance for Kraler to the back corner. A perfectly placed roll shot that Nelson couldn't get to. And based on the cheers following that last point, you can tell that there is a solid contingent here to pull for the Tommies. Tap to Cutts. She powers it to the far side. Now Kraler trying to float it to that back corner spot again. An underhanded swinging Cutts hits it across. And now Nelson has to jump up and attack from the back row. St. Kate's still keeping it alive here. And Atipa finally fails on a setter dump as that one caught the tape. Nelson attacking down the pipe and misses long. (20-12), St. Thomas in command. They took the first set 25-12. And now Isaacson uncorks a fastball going cross court. That ends the brief Tommy run. And we'll see if St. Kate's can gain some momentum with Aaron Cutts serving. There's an ace. The third ace of the afternoon for St. Kate's. And the first for Aaron Cutts, who leads the team in aces this year. And a tippa for Lewandowski. Nelson will bump set it for Isaacson. Gathers and swings, dug out by Meyer. Lewandowski from the middle. She guns it to the far side for a kill. Maddie Kraler ready to serve at 21-14. Nelson with the serve reception. Isaacson from the far side, another kill for her. She has 5 tonight, 7 digs as well. Might have a chance at a double-double this afternoon. Nelson leads the team in double-doubles, 11 of them on the season in 19 contests. And a tippa, bump set, outside Egan, roll shot back row where Nelson plays it. Leverance cross court. Tebben has to set that one with St. Kate's out of system. A free ball coming back across. Tebben flicks that one down. Overpass from Amaker. Now Egan hammering that one to the corner. And St. Kate's was in the net. The Wildcats can't seem to catch a break here, especially on the long rallies. Free ball from Leverance. And a tippa, quick set for West on the tap across. Leverance into the block. Now Lewandowski from the 10-foot line. Plenty of spin on that roll shot. Masterful play by Isaacson from the tightest of angles, and then she gets the block too. The degree of difficulty on just getting that free ball across inside the antenna was off the charts, and Isaacson was able to pull it off. Then she and Tebben got the rejection at the net. So it's 22-16. Fran Egan with a quick kill. Larissa Kish into the game, by the way, and with that last serve for St. Kate's. The serve from Anna Tippa into the net. St. Kate's gets it across with the push from Tebben. An excellent save from Kish, and then a block at the net. Egan with that denial. Blocking the tap from Leverance. And it's set point for St. Thomas. Leverance from the right side. Deflected by the block, and it's down. Set point number 2 now for St. Thomas as the Wildcats need a big run. Amaker serves. Right side, it's Achenbach. Nelson into the block. Bump set from Harker. A chance for Egan to finish it. Kish saved it. Roll shot from Nelson. Punched back over the St. Kate's side. Kish will lob it out to Leverance on the right side. Now Achenbach again from the St. Thomas right side. Bump set from Amaker. Here's Leverance swinging on a pass from over her head. Achenbach from the right side again. They're keeping the opposites really busy here. And finally, St. Kate's finishes the run. Well, if St. Thomas is ever going to run out of stamina in this contest, it could happen soon given the rallies we've seen here in set 2. Big swing from Egan, the dig from Amaker. Nelson from the outside, dug out by Meyer. Kraler from the middle. Now Leverance on the right side, stuffed at the net. West had the block there. Nelson with the roll shot. Back set for Achenbach, the freshman down the line, out of play, and it deflected off a Wildcat hand. That will do it for set number 2. The Tommies take the first pair of sets, 25-12 and 25-18. And the theme remains the same here. Tommies hitting .244. 9 fewer attacks than St. Kate's on the afternoon, but only 6 attack errors to 14 committed by the Wildcats, who are hitting .44. Pre-game we said St. Thomas passes well and they dig it well. 51 digs today compared to 42 for St. Kate's. 27 assists compared to 17 for St. Kate's, and they don't commit the miscues either. 1 blocking error, 1 handling error, and just the 6 aforementioned attack errors for St. Thomas today. A reminder that Wildcat sponsors this season include Eckberg Lammers Attorneys at Law, Midwest Vending, Triple Tree, Dady and Gardner PA, Jimmy John's, and of course TJ Broadcast Services. Our website is www.tjsportsonline.net, and you can send comments, suggestions, and more to wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. And of course, a big thank you to Lindsay Madriga, keeping us up to date with everything happening in Wildcats volleyball and Wildcats athletics throughout this season. She just brought over that stat sheet from the prior set, and it was another tough one for St. Kate's. (25-18). They dropped that second one. A quick peek at the individual stat leaders for the Wildcats this afternoon. 6 kills for Brianna Leverance. Somewhat of a surprise. First on the team in that category today. Isaacson with 5, Cutts with 4, Emma Nelson with 3. Harker has 9 assists, Gilbertson with 7. Gilbertson has 6 digs too. Grace Amaker is the first one into double figures in the digs department with 10. Emma Nelson trying to notch another double-double. She has 6 digs. Really, she needs to improve the kills number with 3 so far today. On the St. Thomas side, 6 kills for Achenbach, 8 for Maddie Kraler, 5 for Selena Lewandowski, and then 3 apiece for Anna Tippa and Fran Egan. And Anna Tippa, of course, is the setter for St. Thomas and has recorded all of those kills via dumping it over on 2. 22 assists for Anna Tippa, too, above her already incredible mark of 10.4 assists per set, which is 4th in the MIAC. 13 digs for Sheffley, 12 for Meyer, 9 for Anna Tippa. She'll hit a double-double soon. Of course, it's not hard for her to do that with how many assists she records in each and every match. Almost ready for set number 3. This afternoon contest serving as the alumni match for St. Kate's. And prior to that third set, you may have caught it over the public address system. They had some short ceremonies for St. Kate's alumni who have contributed to the program over the years. Kraler attacking from well behind the 10-foot line. And now Markle is blocked at the net. Achenbach and West combining on that rejection. Mazzola serving. Quick set for Cuts, pummels it down. Free ball for St. Kate's, but St. Thomas was in the net first. West just barely tapping the netting. Even at 1-1. A great crowd on hand on this Saturday afternoon, and given the weather, where else would you want to be than the Butler Center? Nelson with a clean pass from the back row. Cuts with a big swing. And Cuts ended up in the net. Ellie Meyer ready to serve. Coming off a 27 dig performance against Northwestern last night. That one's off the block and down. A kill for Lindsay Markle, the senior from Fargo, North Dakota, who played at Fargo North in her high school days and transferred from the University of Minnesota Morris. Had played just 24 sets before this afternoon, getting some run against the Tommies. Gilbertson floats it for Isaacson on the outside. A off-speed roll shot that St. Thomas deflects and hits out a play on the far sideline. And it's an early lead for St. Kate's in set 3, trailing 2-0. The Tommies took the first pair 25-12 and 25-18. And there's one of the miscues that the Wildcats can't afford when you're looking for an upset against a top 25 team. The service error brings it to 3-3 in set 3. Sheffley serves. Nelson at the serve reception. Quick pass for Tebben, who pokes it over. Kraler from behind the 10-foot line. Diving save by Nelson. Now Tebben, flat-footed swing. Anatipa back to Kraler. They're peppering her with sets throughout this afternoon, and she's got another kill there. 9 kills for Kraler. Solid pass over to Gilbertson from Isaacson, who gets the third touch too. Rolls it over, and Anatipa dumps it over for her 4th kill. The really crafty sophomore setter with another excellent move there. Tebben to the back corner. That's the first kill for Aaron Tebben today. The junior middle came in hitting .266, second best for St. Kate's this year. She hit .500 in the win against Carleton on Wednesday. Had 6 kills in that victory. 1.8 kills per set on the season for Tebben, as Kraler notches another kill. You can see why Maddie Kraler has been an all-MIAC player each of the last 2 seasons. She serves now. And it's an ace. Kraler came in leading the team in aces with 23. That's not a ton, given that the team is 11th in the conference in aces per set. Harker, back set, Leference, taps it over. Free ball for the Wildcats, but they're out of system. Bump set for Isaacson, able to power it through the block and down. Lauren has 7 kills on the afternoon, 7 digs as well. And the elementary education major leaves the floor here as Larissa Kish serves. Kraler from the back row. Out of play, even though it hit the net. So much pace on that back row attack from Kraler that even after getting a piece of the tape, it went out of bounds. She has the first touch. Now Egan with an attack from the outside. Stuffed at the net. Another chance for Egan. And she finds the back line. Getting it over the block of Tebben and Leverance that time. And it's a 2-point advantage for St. Thomas, leading 2-0. The Tommies 19-3 on the year, ranked number 18 in the country. And now an ace for Selena Lewandowski, the freshman from Clear Lake, Wisconsin. Another laser from Lewandowski and a bump set for Nelson, who swings from the near side. Some miscommunication in the back row from St. Thomas, but they get it back across. Tebben tries to hammer it down. The Tommies with an attack by West. And a free ball off the hands of Leverance. That one's floated over West. Good job by the Tommies to swoop in and save it. Cross court from Nelson. Misses long. Slashed it at a really tight angle. And thus she had less room to work with. 10-6. St. Thomas in set 3. That time the attack is ultra clean from Nelson, pinpointing her spot on the St. Thomas side. And it's the 4th kill for Nelson today. Egan swiping it to the corner. And she catches the line. We didn't call Fran Egan's name very much in the first set. She's picked up her contributions in sets 2 and 3. Wildcats out of system. There's Nelson hitting it off the block. Back set for Achenbach on the right side. That's a tricky one coming over her head. And she hits it into the net. A rare service error attack error for St. Thomas. Just their 8th of the match. They're hitting .258. And the Wildcats are within 3 at 11-8. Gilbertson with the line drive serve. Now she tees it up for Cuts. Trying to drill it down. Egan comes in and uncorks a heater to the near side. She's playing her best in this third set. Gilbertson quickly to Cuts. And Cuts with a rocket. St. Kate's is 2-2 on their home floor. They won their first 2 matches here, but have dropped the last pair, falling against St. Olaf and the College of St. Benedict. Of course, both those latter 2 teams are among the top half in the MIAC. And their first 2 home matches were against Martin Luther and Northwestern, teams from other conferences that aren't quite up to snuff with what you face in the MIAC. The dump from Gilbertson, saved by Meyer. Hit back across by Lewandowski. Now Cuts off the head of Lewandowski. Anatipa pushes that one to the St. Kate's side. Markle has to poke it across. And Anatipa went way over the center line with her right foot. Cuts to serve at 13-10. Lewandowski. It was definitely out of play. St. Thomas calling for a hand, and there was a deflection. The down ref steps in and tells the officials on the far side that it caught a Wildcat paw. So it's a Tommy point to make it 14-10. Anna Sheffley ready. Gilbertson over to Tebben. Blocked at the net by Lewandowski. A chance for Kraler from the outside. Rejected there. Good work by Markle and Tebben. Floated over by Lewandowski. And Markle dove to get a hand on it, but her pass spilled into the St. Kate's bench. And the lead is the largest it's been in this third set at 15-10. St. Thomas took the first pair 25-12 and 25-18. Quick set for Tebben. Karams off the St. Thomas block. A chance for the Wildcats now with Isaacson, and Isaacson powers it down. A couple of subs for St. Kate's. Leverance comes in. So does Abby Harker, replacing Gilbertson at setter. Meyer with the serve reception, and Antippa out to Kraler. Went off speed. Isaacson saved it. Right side, it's Leverance. She was leading the team in kills after 2 sets, and she has 7 now. Tied up with Isaacson for best on the team today. Harker serves. Meyer with the first touch again. Lewandowski weaving it into a hole on the Wildcats side. Kraler serves. Bump set from Amaker. Nelson from the back row. Now Egan, roll shot. Saved by Harker. Isaacson from the outside blows it off the block and down. St. Kate's showing a lot of resolve in this third set. They won't let that lead balloon past 3 or 4 points. They were down 15-10, but now hanging tight as they try to come back against the number 18 team in the country. St. Thomas is 19-3 this year and undefeated in MIAC action. Leverance blocked, and it'll fall to the deck. I poked around through the history books, tried to find the last time that St. Kate's has defeated St. Thomas, and I can tell you it hasn't happened in at least almost 2 decades. Leverance from the right side, got a piece of the block. That's a point for St. Kate's indeed. This Wildcat program has made 2 MIAC playoff appearances in 2000 and 2010. They're winless in the MIAC postseason. And they'd love to get back there, but they'll need to rattle off some wins here at the end of the regular season. St. Kate's called for a double contact, and it's 18-14. By the way, the Wildcats do have one regular season conference championship. That came in 1983. So you really have to turn back the pages in the history book to find that one. Wildcats within 3 again. Markle ready to return. Same for Gilbertson. Harker and Leverance to the bench at 18-15. Long bump set for Egan. Stuffed at the net. Achenbach. That one's through the block. Achenbach today has 8 kills, trailing only Maddie Kraler, who has 10 for St. Thomas. The serve from Mazzola. Back set for Nelson. To the back corner. Nelson with precision on that last attack. The Wildcats and Tommies trading blows in set number 3. Tommies up 2-0. Right side, it's Achenbach. Got a piece of that block again. Isaacson. Now Achenbach, cross court. Punched down by Gilbertson. Well, it's now or never for St. Kate's. The run needs to start soon. You don't want to be facing a 22-16 or 23-16 deficit because it's probably too late at that point. Isaacson with a huge kill. She's into double figures, 10 on the afternoon. Cutts will serve it up. And it's an ace. Maddie Kraler laughs about that one. That was definitely her ball to play, but elected to let it go. So back-to-back points for St. Kate's. And they're up to 18 points in this set, the most they've had in an individual set tonight, forcing Tang Pham to call a rare timeout for St. Thomas. A reminder that today's broadcast is brought to you in part by Goodmanson Construction, Twin Cities Orthopedics, Universal Athletics, Northfield Lines, Collins Electric, and Terra Construction. Jason Doro here with you, joined by Glenn Thompson. Glenn ensuring that everything is up to snuff on the production side and helping bring you Wildcat volleyball throughout this season. We have 2 more home matches left for you, as the Wildcats take on Hamlin on Friday, October 25th, and then St. Mary's on Saturday, October 26th. Those matches at 7 and 3 p.m. respectively. And then eventually we'll ramp it up for basketball season. Of course, the focus now, though, is this alumni match, as St. Kate's honors a bunch of alumni who have contributed to the program over the years and looks for an upset against the number 18 team in the country. Lauren Isaacson clobbers that one off the block and then out of play. The Wildcats trying to force a 4th set. Cut serves it up. Bump set for Isaacson from the outside. Had to take something off. Lewandowski into Aaron Cutts. Markle pushes it over. Quick set for Lewandowski. Blocked at the net by Tebben. Here comes Lewandowski again. Misses the back line. No touch either. We're even at 20-20. Even after the timeout called by Tang Pham, the Wildcats have taken 2 more points in a row. It's a 4-0 run. That time a soft touch from Lewandowski, getting it over the block. And that will stem the run for St. Kate's. The Tommies side out, and Anna Sheffley gets ready to serve. Gilbertson, quick set for Tebben. It's deflected back to the Wildcats side and finds the hardwood. And now Todd Nelson calls timeout. So following the 4-0 run, St. Thomas gets 2 crucial points back-to-back, and they lead 22-20 in this 3rd set. Already up 2 sets to none. They took the first pair 25-12 and 25-18. Let's see if we can get some scores from around the conference revved up here. Wisconsin River Falls swept Carleton earlier today. And we're not getting live stats for most of the other games throughout the conference at the moment, but the other matches today included Gustavus against UW La Crosse, Concordia against St. Mary's. Following that match against UW La Crosse, Gustavus also plays UW Stevens Point. St. Benedict is taking on St. Olaf, and then Augsburg is hosting Stevens Institute of Technology, who has traveled to the Twin Cities from New Jersey for a handful of matches this weekend. They played St. Thomas yesterday, as the Tommies took a doubleheader. They also defeated Northwestern last night. Gilbertson to Tebben out of the timeout, and she hit it long. So that's 3 straight points for St. Thomas, and the Wildcats really have to get it done now. Gilbertson to Nelson from the back row. Dug by Meyer. Lewandowski again floating it over the block. And she gives it just enough pace where 1, it gets over that block, and 2, St. Kate's can't hustle to get to it. Match point for the Tommies. Lindsay Markle coming out of the game. Lauren Scarr returns. Subbing in at the right side. Gilbertson with the pass over to Isaacson. Free ball coming from Meyer. The set from Gilbertson to Tevin. She hammers it off the block. Lewandowski to the back row. Bump back up by Nelson. Free ball from Amaker. Anatipa dumps it over on 2. Great save by Amaker that time. Isaacson propels it down. A chance for Lewandowski to put the finishing touches on the match, and she does just that. The kill for the freshman seals the victory for St. Thomas in straight sets. 25-12, 25-18, and 25-20. The Tommies stay undefeated in MIAC play at 6-0, while the Wildcats drop to 1-5. Well, St. Kate's got better as that match moved along after a dominant opening set for St. Thomas. The Wildcats at least hung around in sets 2 and 3 at 25-18 and 25-20. And they had that last set at 20-20 before the Tommies closed on a 5-0 run. So a tough finish for the Wildcats, who are now 11-9 on the year and 2-3 at home. The Tommies improved to 20-3, 6-0 as mentioned in MIAC play, and they're now 8-1 in road contests. A peek at your final stats here. St. Thomas hits .254 en route to the victory. Only 10 attack errors all afternoon. And only 1 service error for that matter. 1 blocking error, 1 handling error. This team plays really clean volleyball, and that was on display today at the Butler Center. They outpaced St. Kate's in digs too, 73-64, and in blocks 6-4, despite the Tommies being 10th in the MIAC in blocks per set. The Wildcats really weren't able to take advantage of the weaknesses that the Tommies do have, what few of them that they have. St. Kate's hits just under 100 today at 97. They finish with 4 blocks, 6 handling errors, 4 service aces for the Wildcats today. 11 kills for Lauren Isaacson. Tops on the team, Lauren Scarr, or rather Brianna Leverance had 8. Erin Cutts had 6. Emma Nelson with 5. And that about does it for Wildcats with more than 1 kill on the afternoon. Marissa Gilbertson, 15 assists. Abby Harker with 12. She also had 10 digs. Nelson had 15 digs, but no double-double today. Amaker with 17 digs, leading the team in that department today. One quick peek at the St. Thomas individual stats before we call it a day. 11 kills for Selena Lewandowski. She was excellent in the final handful of points and had that game-winning kill at the end. Maddie Kraler, who was all over the court, playing throughout each and every rotation this afternoon, had 10 kills and 10 digs, a double-double. Anna Sheffley with 18 digs. Megan Mazzola with 11. As we talked about, the Tommies are just excellent passers and great in the back row. Kate Achenbach, the freshman, had 9 kills today. Ellie Meyer, 17 digs. Grace Anatipa with 12. So 5 different Tommies record 10-plus digs in just 3 sets today. Well, I think that will just about do it for us here from the Butler Center as they start to clean things up down on the court. It was an excellent crowd in attendance for this one. Of course, just a short trip for St. Thomas to come down the road, and plenty of their fans, as well as family and friends, made it out to this one as the Butler Center was painted purple for the Wildcats and Tommies. After today, St. Kate's will go on the road. They'll play McAllister on Wednesday, 7 p.m. on the road. Another game in St. Paul, but not here at the Butler Center. We'll next see you for a St. Kate's broadcast Friday, October 25th. That will be Parents' Night as the Wildcats take on the Hamlin Pipers, and they'll play the following day, too, against St. Mary's at 3 p.m., and that is senior match, the last home match of the regular season. A big thank you to Glenn Thompson, as always, for doing the hard work just to the right of me and bringing you the best shots at St. Kate Wildcat volleyball. Signing off from St. Paul, I'm Jason Doro. The Wildcats dropped this one in straight sets, but it comes at the hands of a team that is one of the best in the country, the University of St. Thomas Tommies, who are now 20-3 and ranked number 18 in the country. They remain perfect in MIAC play, while the Wildcats drop to 1-5. Good afternoon, and stay warm, Wildcat fans. We'll see you again on October 25th.